It's an absolutely wild day in the world of Magic the Gathering. The Final Fantasy MagicCon that just took place this weekend was an unmitigated disaster. On top of that, Wizards of the Coast has invented a new commander format that is 60 cards, has no limit to the number of copies of cards you can use, and doesn't feature a color identity. How weird is that?
Magic.
I am a wizard!
History.
I'm an old wizard!
The Magic Historian.
My bones hurt. Greetings! Owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends. I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for a thick and juicy installment of Mega Magic News. Now, my new green screen is still on the way, so today, for your viewing pleasure, I am the green screen. Now, before we dive in to the pure insanity that is what happened at the MagicCon, and then add on the absolute weirdness that is the new commander format, technically, we have two new commander formats, let me tell you that today's video is sponsored by some awesome, high-quality Final Fantasy-inspired tokens. Check them out. Take your Magic collection to the next level with ultra premium custom tokens. Zaximus Studios has just released a set of Final Fantasy inspired custom tokens. You get over 50 different options that range across Magic's history. For example, if you love the Brothers War like I do, guess what? You've got a Power Stone token in here. On top of that, these tokens have an excellent feature that I haven't seen anywhere else, where when you flip them over on the backside, they actually have a spot for you to indicate how many tokens of this type you have tapped and how many you have untapped. They even have a Metal Monarch token fit for a king. Okay, I need you to edit it in so this crown just appears on my head. What do you mean you can't do that? I'm gonna look like a fool. And as an added bonus, you get 10% off when you use the code MyBonesHurt using the link that I have pinned down in the comments section. All right, well, the news about the MagicCon is massive. So let's start talking about the new commander formats first. This is a weird beast. Wizards of the Coast clearly has looked at things. I mean, if you actually saw a video a few days ago, you would know they have just created a new 4-player draft format, and we were talking about how that's clearly them aiming at Commander, saying, hey, Commander players, why don't you do a draft? And so here is another way for Wizards to try and bring everything under the umbrella of Commander. So this is going to fall under the same kind of auspices as when Wizards just decided to start slapping Secret Lair onto everything. When they went, oh, the promos we give away at conventions, there's Secret Lair promos, just because we say so. So when it comes to this Commander stuff, that's absolutely what's going on. So they're like, well, now we have Commander Two-Headed Giant. That one, obviously, no real explanation needed. If you already know what Two-Headed Giant is, you know how this works. It's just Commander, you're playing Two-Headed Giant. And I, for one, am not a big fan of the Two-Headed Giant experience because I've had some miserable games where my partner did nothing. But I see the appeal of Two-Headed Giant. No. Where it gets actually really strange is when we go into the Commander box format. So how this is supposed to work is you buy an entire booster box of a set. So clearly, this is a pretty greedy new format. Wizards was like, what if we could just get like 4 people to draft and they each just grabbed like 3 booster packs, and somebody else in the room was like, yo, what if we got every Commander player to buy an entire booster box? These guys aren't buying enough product. That is the downside of Commander, right? Commander is a double-edged sword where Wizards of the Coast benefits from Commander's massive popularity, but they have a lot harder time selling stuff to Commander players. Like when it comes to Commander decks, obviously that's an easy sell, but individual singles, getting them to buy booster boxes, Wizards has been noticed a massive dovetail in sales when it comes to things like sets that are used for standard and drafting specifically. So now they're turning around and going, okay, how do we fix this? Well, we have this new Commander box format. And the only reason it's actually Commander is because you pick a Commander card. But legitimately, you build a 60 card deck out of the contents. You open the entire booster box, you build a 60 card deck out of that, and then you can put any number of copies in. So you can have 15 copies of a card in there. Your Commander's color identity doesn't matter. So how much does it actually feel like genuine Commander? You do have to ask yourself that, right? Like, how much of Commander is defined by the fact that you have a Commander, and how much is defined by the restrictions placed by the color identity and the singleton nature? Although I guess the restrictions created by the singleton nature of Commander have somewhat been... Actually, no, never. Now that I think about it, both really, especially like the color identity is one thing. The functionality, Wizards keeps making basically the same abilities over and over, and they keep extending the abilities out into other colors. You know what I mean? Like, black didn't used to be able to destroy enchantments, and now it can. So we're getting to the point where Magic is more homogenized, and the color identity actually has less of an impact than you think in terms of restricting what you can do in the game. But this throws away the singleton, it throws away the color identity, it throws away the deck size, and just goes, you have a Commander. So this is interesting. I'm curious to see how this is going to go, right? Like, Wizards of the Coast obviously is pushing harder and harder to make as much money as humanly possible. And it feels like we are on the cusp of either Magic becoming an insanely more expensive game, or them finally finding the straw that breaks the camel's back, where you just go, whoa, 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 no, right? Because we're somewhere in between those 2 points right now. We know from Magic 30 where the high water mark is, where people just go, no. We will not pay $1,000 for a booster box of 4 packs of gold-backed reprints of the original set. But they will pay $1,000 or more for 12 booster packs of the Final Fantasy set, right? So same price point, 3 times as many boosters, and for a property that's not Magic. So Hasbro is forcing Wizards to reach out as much as possible and figure out where they can make more money, and clearly they're putting everything into the Commander bucket, right? There's like, we just need more and more formats that appeal to Commander because we've kind of crushed Magic into Commander. That's what happened. When the pandemic hit, Magic basically got shunted down more and more into Commander, and Wizards looked around and went, wait, the game stores and the standard stuff and everything we were doing, we can survive without that. But the problem was, there was a ton of extra money flowing around at the time, right? So they basically looked at that and gone, the world will continue to be like this, when it absolutely won't. And they made choices that negatively impacted their bottom line in a significant way. If that hadn't happened, you wouldn't have seen them come out and say, okay, standard is now a 3-year format, and these other things they're doing, foundations being 5 years, and putting Universe Beyond into standard. They're trying to find ways to goose the sales of boxes again, outside of just the normal, well, I'm hyped about Final Fantasy, because Final Fantasy has genuinely brought in more people than you'd believe, right? Final Fantasy has had more of an impact than Lord of the Rings already. And the stuff that happened at the MagicCon really helps to provide evidence in that regard, right? So, first of all, straight out the gates, everything that could be booked in advance was booked in advance, weeks in advance. So if you were somebody who was going to buy a pass to this event and planned to pick what you were going to do when you got there, you had incredibly limited options. There's tons, hundreds and hundreds, thousands of people actually discussing this right now. And some of the stuff they're saying, one person said, I spent $400 on this pass and I got nothing out of this entire weekend. I can't believe how much money it cost me versus what I actually got. It appears that the people who got the best value this time around were actually the Black Lotus pass holders, which are people who got hosed in previous iterations. If you actually go back through the channel, you'll find videos about previous MagicCons. And the Black Lotus holders, some of the stuff they had to deal with, their lounge was like, we give you free food. And there's like 1 bag of chips and a can of pop. And they get restocked like once a day. So the Black Lotus pass holders really got the short end of the stick. And ultimately, this time around, they were able to take advantage of things and give other people the short end of the stick. So before we dive in to all of the travesties of this event, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the positive improvements that have been made, just to be fair. Now, I didn't see a ton of improvements listed, but people did say, that unlike previous MagicCons where the commander areas didn't have enough space for everybody, Wizards of the Coast did actually manage to have enough space for everybody. Considering they had a MagicCon about 8 months ago, something around that, that had 15,000 people. 15,000 people at it, which is massively successful, right? That's a staggering amount of people. So that said to them, okay, we need to step this up. And they did fix that. They streamlined their events with QR codes. So hopefully when we go through all of these gripes that people have, Wizards will take this stuff into account, because honestly, this is massively egregious. So the Black Lotus holders had to pay $900 for their pass, but that gave them early access to the show floor. So Thursday night, they actually get to come in. There's also special extra merch that's available for them. So if you're a Black Lotus pass holder, you get to come in, you get to, oh, check it out, we're selling some Final Fantasy packs. You can grab those, you can grab a playmat, whatever it is, right? Which makes sense. If somebody's paying the ultimate high level, you want to give them something to make it feel a bit more juicy, obviously, or people aren't going to buy that pass going forwards, right? So early access by itself isn't a problem. But what happened is they were selling Final Fantasy collector boosters. And these collector boosters, like, you can't find them pretty much anywhere, right? You can find them online for insane prices if you want to pay $1,200 or more. But finding them in stores, any of that stuff, it's all already gone. So collector boosters are a massive frenzy. Now you can buy them, or could, obviously, because this event already took place. You could buy them for $40 a pack from the Magic event store. And I don't know what's crazier, individual Magic boosters for $40, or the fact that these boosters at $40 are considered a genuine deal. Because here's how it works. You can buy them from the official Magic shop for $40. There are vendors at the event, basically like game stores and stuff like that, right? Who will purchase Magic cards from you, but they'll also buy Final Fantasy boosters. You know how much they'll pay for a Final Fantasy collector booster? $70. So you could buy $70 for $40. But if you wanted to go a step further, you could sell it online for $100 or more, right? So you can buy either $70 or $100 for $40. And it requires either mailing somebody something for $100 or literally just paying $40, getting your packages and walking over to a vendor and flipping it for $70. Basically almost doubling your money, right? So obviously this is going to create a feeding frenzy. Now Wizards did put a limit of 3 packs in place, but here's the thing. Those limits were not enforced in any way, shape, or form. So you would have people, especially the Black Lotus holders, because they had multiple different registers where they'd go up and buy 3 packs. Oh, here you go, I'm gonna buy 3 packs. Now I'm just gonna get in line over here, buy 3 packs. Now I'm gonna get in line over here, buy 3 packs. And so they were able to circumvent that, stacking up multiple extra booster packs, right? So you've got that going on. And then it starts to amp up where not only do you have these Black Lotus holders going and getting 3 packs, but you've got people in the lines going, hey, employee who works here, can I slip you a couple of bucks and then you let me just buy more of these packs? And the employees at these conventions, they're not making crazy money, right? They're just regular, everyday employees, probably just getting paid minimum wage, dealing with a massive hassle, a massive crush of people, and they're only going to be there for, what, 3 days? So who cares? Do you know what I mean? Like, looking at it from the perspective of, let's just make something brand new up for kids. Let's say the kids play a game called Blample Flamp, right? And they're like, oh man, the new Wingus packs are out. And I'm working for this convention. And the kids are like, oh no, Blample Flamp so much, oh my God, let me get my 3 Wingus packs. And I'm like, yeah, here you go. And then one of them goes, yo, if I give you $50, can I buy a dozen Wingus packs? Oh, yes, absolutely. I love Wingus too. Give me that $50, bro. Let's Wingus all night. So obviously the employees are going to say yes. I don't fault them for that, right? But on top of that, apparently some employees were actually making the offer, being like, yo, bro, you love Winguses? You put $50 in my Wingus hole and you're going to get some more booster packs. So you have people walking away with dozens and dozens of packs. And you have to understand, these packs are so hard to get that regardless of the fact that you could monetize them, there's a ton of people who genuinely just want them. So they would be waiting in line for hours. Remember, you pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get into this event. You have a limited number of hours. It's like being at a theme park, right? How much time are you going to spend in a line for a ride? My friends will spend 2 hours in the line to ride a roller coaster for 2 minutes. I go to the swings and I get to ride the swings for 2 hours straight, boy. So it's a matter of like how you value your time, what you're willing to do. So people stood in line to buy these booster packs for hours and hours and hours and didn't get any. They did not have enough for everybody. People were skeezing the line. They had no automated system where they would just scan your badge and go, boop, okay, no, sorry, you've already got your 3 packs, right? You're good, you can't do any more. We've got it in the system. So the whole thing was ripe for massive skeezing. Apparently there were people in tears. They were literally just crying because they didn't get to play and they didn't get the packs. They made the wrong choice. It's just brutal, honestly. When you stop and think about it, it's brutal. I know how exciting it is to be a part of events like this. I've run, not run events on that level. I've run smaller events, but I've been to a ton of huge Magic events, and there is electric energy. But you expect to come out of it with something. So people turning around and scalping these packs didn't just affect waiting in line to get product, right? It actually affected the events too. There's multiple issues with this. So Wizards of the Coast was doing Final Fantasy collector drafts. Now, up until 2 days before the event, they told nobody that those drafts would be limited. They told nobody that there would be a limited amount of these drafts. So they limited the beginning of every day, and you had, maybe if you were lucky, the first half an hour of the day to actually be able to register and get a ticket, because this stuff sells out instantly, right? So when you actually get into the event itself, people are looking at it like this. You play in the draft, and whoever comes in first wins a full booster box of collector packs, right? And then whoever comes in second wins a booster pack as well. So what was happening is there's 13 extra booster packs to go around, and it's $100 to get into the event, where you get your collector packs, right? And then on top of that, the prizing is collector packs. So there was tons of events where nobody was actually playing in the event. They join the event, they get the product, they do event splits, and then they just go, okay, here we're splitting all the product, and just walk off. So there's a story of one poor soul who just wanted to play Magic. He came all the way to the MagicCon, bought a super expensive pass, gets into one of these events, and all 7 of the other people in the event are yelling at him, being jerks, just basically, shut up, we're going to end this event and just take the packs, we're done. And he's like, but I want to play. I want to try and win the box, and I want to play and have fun with the cards. And then people, we're not here to play Magic. We're going to make money, right? So I've literally never heard of this happening at any Magic event ever. Single elimination drafts where the people don't even want to play. They just want to spread the prizes out. So having nothing tied to badges is a big problem. They had the exact same issue with playmats, merch like that, right? People would want to snag up the special limited edition playmats. You're only supposed to be able to buy one of them, and people were walking out with armfuls, but only from the official Magic stuff, right? If you go to Ultra Pro, they have their playmats. You want the cloud playmat or whatever, like, okay, great. We have a limit of 1 per person, and we're gonna track your badge. So they just scanned, and we're just like, boom, there you go. You got one. You can't get any more. The technology already exists for this, right? Like, when it comes down to it, I want you to understand, when I talked about waiting in line to get packs or whatever, somebody put a post down going, it wasn't that hard to get product if you got there early. And so here's how it goes. Get to the con at 7 o'clock in the morning. Get in line, and you'll have your product 3.5 hours later. That's what this guy was saying was no big deal. Like, yo, if you got there early enough, 3 hours. Like, my page of notes is just so covered with all kinds of absolute craziness, right? On top of all this, they stopped checking who had what badge. There was too many people there. It's like when I went to the Niagara Falls Comic Con, and I went over and showed them my ticket, but I could have just walked into that event. Nobody was checking anything. So apparently they just stopped checking badges to even make sure you were able to be where you're supposed to be. And there was some massive skis with people cutting in line. People literally coming in side doors into the building and going, oh, I'm super late for my event or whatever. And then just sliding into line in front of other people. So there was all kinds of massive issues with this, honestly. Like, you wait in line for hours, you get nothing. All the events are sold out. There are a ton of people grumbling about how they'll never go to another one of these. Wizards of the Coast is going to look at it. They're going to turn to their shareholders and be like, we had unprecedented demand, my friends. We are making gangbuster money. The Final Fantasy MagicCon was the biggest Best one we ever had. But you can only push things up to a certain point where the frenzy breaks. And on the other hand, you want to be treating your actual genuine Magic fans very well. They're doing this whole Johnny come lately thing with Universe Beyond stuff, but it is a diminishing returns kind of scenario. Now, the one other thing I do want to put out there, just so you guys know, is right now people are trying to sell empty collector booster boxes from Final Fantasy for $50 or more. So just be aware, this is happening on places like TCG Player, where the picture shows an open box, the listing says it's an open box, but then there's different categories and it's listed under sealed product. And when people contact TCG Player and go, this is not a sealed product, what's going on? And they're like, as long as their listing is detailed, it's all good by us, so whatever, that's our system. So just put it out there, guys. Pay attention so you don't get hosed. It has been an absolutely wild day. It's a heat wave today, and I'm cooking in this stupid suit. So it's time for me to stop being a green screen and go back to being a real boy. So thanks for coming by, my friends. Big shout out to my patrons. You guys rule. And I will be live over on my live stream channel tonight if you would like to come and hang out. I will see you there. Goodbye for now.